What's up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Getting to the end of May here. Getting to the end of the UFL season as well as we kick off week 9 tomorrow. Not any breaking news that I can think of, so we're going to roll right into the news segment here. We'll also talk about the Vikings Jets drafts at the end. I have Jimmy's thoughts as well. College football news, though, one transfer portal note. Louisville edge rusher Tyler Barron. He is committed to Miami. So originally transferring from Tennessee to Louisville, now Louisville to Miami. It's another good get down there for the Canes. They've done pretty well in the transfer portal this offseason, and one of the top portal classes for sure. The NCAA settlement was approved by the Power 5 conferences over during the week. So, just some footnotes on it. The $2.7 billion is the total amount over 10 years. Each school can pay up to $20 million annually directly to student athletes. Division I athletes from 2016 to now are the ones that are in the eligible class, and that they are eligible to receive a share of the settlement. However, if they accept payments, they cannot sue the NCAA further for antitrust violations. Athletes can opt to object or opt out of the settlement, making them eligible to sue the association. And sports economists' formulas are going to determine how much each athlete will receive. I think it's likely going to be something along the lines of, all right, what was their projected net worth at the time that they were playing, something like that. And the payments are currently likely to begin at next fall 2025 is when the payouts will start. Right now, anyways. UFL news, some roster movement. The Panthers, they placed defensive end Levi Bell on IR. Defenders, they have activated tight end Briley Moore off of IR, so good target back for Jordan Ta'amu the last 2 weeks here. The Battlehawks, they waived quarterback Drew Plitt. Good news for Battlehawks fans. AJ McCarron getting healthier. He is slotted to be the backup to Manny Wilkins this week. The Stallions, they re-signed safety JoJo Tillery, so good to see JoJo back on the squad. And the Roughnecks, they re-signed running back Ezra Gray, was in camp with them, Memphis last year, but some injuries there, giving Gray an opportunity in Houston. And the Panthers, they signed Arkansas linebacker Bumper Poole. Excellent signing by Michigan for the playoffs, I think, giving them some sideline-to-sideline type depth. Was on the Carolina Panthers practice squad last year, and now getting his opportunity in the UFL. Manny Wilkins, like I said, likely to start again this week. AJ McCarron, the backup for him, as he works to get back to 100% healthy. NFL news, the NFL league meetings were going down, and a couple things came out of that. The league is looking to use optical tracking for yardage rulings in the preseason this year. That's going to be similar to what the UFL does with their True Line technology, with millions of, however many cameras they have around the stadiums. And then, it gives you pretty accurate detailing of where the ball is and how short it is to the yard marker. Also, coming out of league meetings, Pittsburgh awarded the 2026 NFL draft. Super hyped about that. I know it was a really great event when I went in 2017 in Philly. Now excited to see it go to Pittsburgh. I like getting these cities, these northern cities that have outdoor stadiums and can't host Super Bowls, getting them something of a mega event from the NFL's perspective. Injury note, Ravens running back Keaton Mitchell expected to return at some point during the season, not during training camp, not at the start of the season, though, towards ACL in week 15. So we will see and wait for when Keaton Mitchell can get back on the field in his second season there. And one signing note, the Eagles recently losing Devontae Parker to retirement. They have filled his roster spot, signing former Giants wide receiver John Ross to a one-year deal. Had a visit with them a couple weeks ago, and now signing to replace Parker on the roster. UFL pick standing is a good week overall for all of us. 3-1. I went 1-1 on my lone wolves. I got the Brahmas right over the Renegades, lost the Defenders against the Battlehawks. So that's how everyone got to 3-1. So Jimmy still leads it by 3. Alec and I tied there in second place, 19-13. I think we've done pretty well this year. 12 games above 500 for Jimmy, and 6 for Alec and I. All right, this week 9 in the UFL. It's pretty chalk, but we know the playoff matchups are set in both conferences. There is some seeding to go through, especially on the XFL conference side. But these players are playing for their jobs, for their careers, and hopefully for NFL opportunities in the summer and training camp and the fall. So Battlehawks, 3-point favorites at the Renegades. First time this season, Alec has not picked his Renegades. I was kind of surprised on that one. But I do think Manny Wilkins looked really good last week against the DC Defenders. The running game as well. Jacob Sailors, Wayne Gallman was pretty good. And the St. Louis defense is lights out under Donnie Abraham, DC there. So, yeah, we are all on the Battlehawks. Total is 46. I am leaning on the under in this game. 12 p.m. ABC. Birmingham Stallions continue to be undefeated, and I think they're going to continue to do that. This team is unstoppable. They got a really tough test against Houston last week. But I don't think it's going to matter. They're in San Antonio. 8.5 is way too big for me. The Brahmas defense is now, after I just finished calculating the stats today, the Brahmas defense is now the number one defense in the league in points allowed, 16.4. The Stallions second best at 17.6 after giving up increasing scores the last 3 weeks, 21, 26, and 28. The Brahmas, however, have allowed under 20 points in their last 5 games, 9, 15, 18, 12, and 15. So they are playing excellent. The Brahmas also took the sack lead, or maintained the sack lead, I should say. 26 sacks on the year. And the lone, bad spot for this Brahmas defense is the interceptions. They have only 2 on the year. That's tied with Memphis for second to last. So that's really the only non-bright spot for this San Antonio defense. But I think it's Adrian Martinez. He had 5 touchdowns last week to beat Houston pretty much by himself. And I think Martinez gets it done again in San Antonio. This is a potential UFL championship game matchup. He already beat the other team that's in the XFL Conference Championship in St. Louis. Now looking to beat the Brahmas here in San Antonio. So I'm Lone Wolf and the only undefeated team out there. That's it's an interesting statement to say. Total is 44, and I hate that number. If it was a little higher, I'd like the under. If it was a little lower, I'd like the over. But 44 is in that middle range, and I'm not a big fan of it. So I'm staying away from that total there. And I lean Brahmas plus 8.5. I think that is a ton of points for this matchup. 3 p.m. on ABC. And on Sunday, we have a regional coverage matchup here. The Defenders 5-point favorites at the Showboats is the first one. And we are all on my DC Defenders. Obviously, both of these teams, my teams. The Showboats from the USFL, and then the Defenders from the XFL. But Defenders are my number one team. That's my hometown, home area there in DC. So I am going with them, as is Jimmy and Alec. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think DC is the better team. I think they have the better quarterback. And this one's not going to be pretty, I don't think, anyways. These teams are in the bottom half of the league in terms of points allowed. DC allows 23.8, Memphis 30.3. Now, they did a good job last week, allowing just 24 to Michigan. But a lot of yards could be had in this one, as should points. But personally, I am going with the under. These offensive lines have not been good for either team. And I don't know. There's something about the under that I like in this game. So I am rolling with the under 46 in this one. 2:30 p.m. on Fox. And the final one, Panthers at the Roughnecks. We are all on Michigan in this one, and I like Michigan spread here. Minus 3.5. Play it to 4 or 3 if you can get it, which would be ideal. But, yeah, I like the spread here for Michigan. Houston, excellent game last week against Birmingham in Birmingham. But I think Michigan's on a mission. I think technically they can still get the number 1 seed in the USFL Conference Championship and host Birmingham in the Conference Championship game. But I don't think it matters. I think this team's going to win regardless of who they are playing and who's playing quarterback, because Bryce Perkins is my pick once again. However, Brian Lewerke is also in the mix. Total here is 40, lowest of the weekend. And I don't know. That's tough. I would lean the over, but I'm not liking it. 2:30 on Fox as well, regional coverage there. All right, let's get to the Jets and the Vikings draft recap. So let's talk about the Vikings first. I got my Vikings Brett Favre jersey on, and the Vikings in the first round traded up to number 10 with the Jets to get quarterback J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. They traded back up again in the first round from 23 to 17 to get edge rusher Dallas Turner from Alabama. Fourth round, 108 overall, corner Kyrie Jackson from Oregon. Sixth round, 177, offensive tackle Walter Rouse from Oklahoma. Sixth round, 203, kicker Will Reichard from Alabama. Seventh round, 2 picks, 230, center Michael Juergens from Wake Forest. 232, defensive tackle Levi Drake Rodriguez from Texas A&M Commerce. So Jimmy, he said he likes getting a quarterback and Turner and retaining the first next year. He said the rest of the picks don't really move him, though. He doesn't think any of those guys are going to be more than roster flyers. Well, Jimmy, I'll have to disagree. I do like some of these picks. It was a pretty solid draft with limited picks for Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah here. I left with a couple of needs, though, for me from this draft with Minnesota. Interior D-line. Where was the interior D-line? I thought that was a big need, and Jimmy knew that was a big need as well. The team really didn't do much in securing their future on the interior. The defense needed help. Now, Brian Flores will continue to be that help, of course, but you need the players to coordinate it. So the interior D-line, it looks like this. It's Jonathan Bullard, Harrison Phillips, Jerry Tillery. So they did get Levi Drake Rodriguez. I like him as a 7th rounder. He's going to fill in there. And then they got a couple other undrafted free agents, but still thought there was need in the interior D-line at a higher, more premium selection. Getting Rodriguez there at the end does fill that need. So that is that anyways. But there were 2 other ones that they didn't get. Wide receiver. I thought wide receiver was a big need. They're asking Brandon Powell to step into a starting role as a 3rd wide receiver. I'm not really a big fan of that. They really don't have a lot of other guys on the roster that really move the needle. N'Keal Harry, Jalen Naylor, Trent Sherfield, who they signed from Buffalo. They signed Harry from Chicago. Tristan Jackson, Lucky Jackson, Thayer Thomas, Malik Knowles, and then they got Ty James in undrafted free agency. So after Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, I'm not a big fan of this Vikings wide receiver room. There's a lot of depth pieces and not a lot of starting quality talent and potential developmental pieces. So I don't know. I would have liked to see a wide receiver go instead of something like Cam Jurgens or Michael Jurgens. I said it's Cam's brother. Maybe a wide receiver with that number 230 pick instead of a center. The interior O line is pretty good, and they have some guys there that they can utilize. The other one was punter. So punter, I didn't like. They have Ryan Wright, who they signed as a college free agent in 2022, undrafted free agent in 22, and Seth Vernon are the other punters, street free agent this year. So didn't like that they didn't take a punter. I thought Torrey Taylor would have been an excellent choice for them. Obviously, Chicago took him pretty early in the 4th round, but yeah, I thought punter would have been the way to go. Somebody like Austin McNamara from Texas Tech or Ryan Reckow there from BYU. Those would have been my picks. However, though, I'm not a big fan of JJ McCarthy. He has a lot of intangibles and a lot of physical traits. Will they translate, though? He hasn't been in an offense where he's had to really throw the ball and win the game. And I just don't think this Vikings offense is set up similar to Michigan's, where they're going to be able to utilize the run game like that. Aaron Jones, while I do like him, he's a dual threat guy. He's not a pounder, and they don't really have that type of running back on their roster. Dwayne McBride's probably your guy if you're looking for a pounder inside, but Aaron Jones is a guy that's a zone scheme guy that likes to get on the edge and utilize his speed, catching out of the backfield as well. He is excellent at. And Ty Chandler is a 3rd down change of pace guy as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what JJ is going to do. if he's going to even start this year. We'll see how he battles, because it's going to be a battle with Sam Darnold. They're not giving JJ the job right off the bat, I don't think. Dallas Turner, that was excellent. That was an excellent pick. But I didn't like it as much because of what they had already done in free agency. They signed Jonathan Greenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Jihad Ward in free agency already. They drafted Pat Jones in the 3rd round in 2021. So, I didn't really like that one as much as I would have had they not gone out and got the couple of guys that they did in free agency. But it's still an excellent pick. To get edge player in the draft at 17 was excellent value there. And Adolfo Mensa definitely saw that and had to go up and get his guy, even though it did cost, I think, a future second. So that one was kind of tough. But in terms of Kyrie Jackson, I like that pick. I thought he might have gone in the 3rd round, but lasted till the 4th. Walter Rouse could be a really solid selection. He's massive, 6'7". I could be undershooting him. So 6'5" and 3/4 there. So I was overshooting it. 6'5" and 3/4, 313 is what our lads has him at. But this is a guy that's very experienced, played at Oklahoma a bunch of years, and will give them a potential swing tackle this year and possibly a starter down the line if they need it, with Christian Darrisaw at left, Brian O'Neill at right, securing the edges there in Minnesota. Will Reichard's a guy I like as well. He's a guy I had as my number 1 kicker on the board. I know a lot of other people had Joshua Carty. But I think Reichard's the guy. I know Jimmy wasn't very excited about drafting a kicker. However, Reichard, experienced in big game situations at Alabama, has hit many kicks and really looked solid at the Senior Bowl. So I like the Will Reichard selection there. On to the Jets. And the Jets, number 11 overall, they traded back one spot with the Vikings. They went offensive tackle Olu Fashanu for Penn State. 3rd round, 65th, wide receiver Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky. 4th round, 134, running back Braylon Allen from Wisconsin. 5th round, 3 selections, 171, quarterback Jordan Travis from FSU. 173, running back Isaiah Davis from South Dakota State. 176, corner Quantez Stiggers from the Toronto Argonauts. And 7th round, 257, safety Jalen Key from Alabama. And I got to say, I am not a fan of the Jets draft. I like 3 out of their 7 picks. But overall, I thought it was not very great. Olu Fashanu, excellent decision by general manager Joe Douglas. I kept saying this whenever other people were putting Brock Bowers there. They were putting Rome Odunze. I'm like, dude, look, you have to secure the future at tackle. You cannot go into the season with these 30-plus-year-old tackles at right and left. Morgan Moses at right, Tyron Smith at left. Both have injury histories. You just can't do it. You cannot do that to your 39-year-old quarterback who is coming off a torn Achilles. You have to have someone ready who is talented enough to step in at a moment's notice and maybe even win a dang job in training camp. You have to do that and secure that for Aaron Rodgers. So I thought it was an excellent choice by Douglas there to go with the tackle, the best one on their board at the time, which is Fashanu. Liked the Malachi Corley selection as well. He's going to slot in right away. Should be a starter from day one in the slot for in between Mike Williams and Garrett Wilson. And then the other one I liked was Jordan Travis. Love Jordan Travis. I think he's going to be a starter in the league, hopefully one day. Was excellent at Florida State until the injury this year. And he's going to be third string quarterback with Tyrod and Aaron Rodgers there. But I think he's going to soak up the knowledge, get healthy. And he's got really one of the Steelers to draft to have a developmental potential future prospect there at the quarterback position. And I really like Jordan Travis. I believe he's a little undersized. No, he's decent. 6'1", 6'1 and 8", 200 pounds. So that's pretty solid size there. But I really enjoyed his tape, and sucks that he got injured. But I think New York got a steal of a QB prospect in the 5th round there. But like I said, overall, I was not a big fan of the Jets. I hated the running back selections. Love both players, especially Isaiah Davis. But, dude, like, where are these guys supposed to play? Breece Hall is your starter. You have Israel Abanikanda, who you drafted in the 5th round last year, who they really liked. And then it's Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. So there are roster spots available, but I just did not see the need. Breece takes up a ton of touches every week. And I understand both these guys are probably going to have to play on special teams. And I think Isaiah Davis is my favorite guy of the two. He's much better pass catcher than Allen is. Allen's a pounder inside. And Isaiah Davis has better speed, but yeah, I didn't like the double running back selection. I thought there were other needs. In terms of my needs, the Jets left me without a tight end and without a linebacker. So the tight end one, I was not a big fan. They still have Tyler Conklin. They drafted Ruckert in the 3rd round in 2022. They drafted Zach Kuntz last year in the 7th round. They have Kenny Yeboah as well. I just thought there was a big chance to upgrade at tight end, and they didn't do it. So I don't know. We'll see if Conklin or Ruckert can make something happen. But I think it is a little less of a need with the drafting of Corley. I thought that really gave Rodgers another weapon, which is what essentially I needed to see from the Jets. But really, tight end was a big need for me. It was my number 1 need for New York, I believe. And then linebacker. I didn't like them not going with a linebacker. Look, they have Quincy Williams, CJ Mosley as the main 2 linebackers there. But after that, like, what is it? Jamie Sherwood, they drafted in the 5th round in 2021. Sam McGuavin, who they signed from Miami. Chaz Surratt, who I really like, but he was a street free agent in 2022. Zaire Barnes, they drafted in the 6th round last year. And then it's a bunch of undrafted guys. So I needed to see something to get some quality depth on the roster. Mosley is up there in age now, so not sure. He might get injured. That's why I wanted a linebacker, and especially with taking the 2 running backs, I thought maybe one of those picks should have been a linebacker instead. So Jimmy has his Vikings going A-. I am more along the lines of a B for Minnesota. Again, I'm not as high on JJ. Really like the Dallas Turner pick, but not as much with the free agent signings that they got. Like the Jackson value. Really like the Rouse value and the Reichard value. And then Jurgens and Rodriguez are so picks. But overall, I think it was a decent draft, and the top 2 obviously outweigh everything. If those 2 work, it's going to move my grade up. For the Jets, I am giving a B-, because, like I said, I really like Fashanu, and I love that pick, like the Corley pick, and I like the Travis pick, although it was in the 5th round. The rest of the things I don't like. The double running back selection, no tight end on the board. Stiggers is decent. He had a good Senior Bowl after playing in Toronto out of high school. Never went to college. High school. And then Jalen Key is, depth piece. Probably won't make the roster. So I got B- for the Jets, B for the Vikings. Like I said, Jimmy gave his Vikings an A- for their drafts. That is the show for today. Next Friday, we'll be talking week 10 UFL. And actually, we'll not have a show next Friday. It'll be Thursday, hopefully. We'll be able to have one. I will be leaving Friday. But whenever we do this show next, we'll be talking UFL week 10. We'll get you all your UFL game previews for the final week of the UFL regular season, and then we'll continue our draft recap series doing the Saints and the Colts. And on Monday, we'll be talking Broncos and Raiders, which I'm very, very excited about. Bo Nix, Bo knows, love it. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc. We will see y'all back on Monday. Happy Memorial Day weekend.